Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm here with Pillow Talk with my beautiful wife, Dr. Alicia. Now, I think the one thing I did do wrong, Alicia, was I think I scheduled the podcast on YouTube to happen tomorrow night at 10:45 instead of tonight.
Oh, you put the wrong date in.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. People are still here. Let us know if you can hear us. Okay. So let's first of all, I want to ask you how you doing today, babe.
It's been a long day. I'm doing really well. We were together all day today.
Yeah,
It was such a treat.
yeah. We had a really nice a nice weekend for the 4th of July, even though neither one of us celebrates it. But it was really fun. We got a chance to spend time with family and the kids and everything. So you had a good time.
So wait, I guess we don't celebrate 4th of July necessarily.
No, we don't. We're not into that stuff. I'm not
Not
into it.
really.
Are
But
you?
I was, I was a festive. I went with it. I was pretty
Mm,
festive.
okay, okay.
Oh,
Well, I had a good
it
time.
just was a great time just to get together with family.
Mm,
That was a lot of fun.
yeah, I thought it was really good too. And so anyway, we were thinking about something. We were asking you guys if you saw. We assume you saw that Bill Cosby's out of prison, which we both. I think it's a good thing. Do you think it's a good thing that
I
Cosby?
think it's an excellent thing.
Yeah. Okay.
He
Okay. So
shouldn't have
we're on
been.
the same page. And even if you disagreed, I wouldn't get mad because I understand people who
Mhm.
disagree. I just think that it was a legal thing where you have to follow the procedure. You got to lock people up the right way. You can't just decide like, oh, I think that black man must have done it. After all, several white women accused him, so he must be guilty. That's some more Emmett Till type stuff to me.
You know, I taught a diversity class with master's students the semester that he went to jail. And I brought it up in class.
Real.
Yeah, and there's a lot of suburban white women in that class.
And what did they say?
Hands down, all of them thought that he should not have been in jail.
So wait a minute. So your class full of suburban white women
Yeah, they thought
felt
it
that
was
Cosby
unfair.
that it was
Hmm.
unfair. Really? Okay.
I
Okay.
was surprised.
Wow.
Now, these are the social work students, so they're kind of.
Yeah, but you single handedly increased my faith in white people by about 44%.
Yeah.
Seriously, I really thought that white people, most of them would not. So that's good though. That's good. So social workers really saw the injustice in the incarceration.
Oh yeah, they said this reminds me of Emmett Till. This reminds me of okay, so the one, how come Harvey Weinstein is still free, and this man they targeted him? Like I didn't even have to say it. I just said let's just have a conversation about it, and they went with it.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised.
So I my thinking is that a lot of the what we see in the media does not at all reflect the actual minds and opinions of the people, regular public. I don't think it actually reflects that.
Interesting. So you think media maybe has an agenda that it's like
Hmm.
just sort of the elites kind of saying we're going to use public opinion against you.
Well, they're going to make up public opinion and just create it,
Mm.
because they want to divide us. And actually, we are all more alike than you would think.
Well, one thing that I did do was on my Twitter, I took a survey and I asked the people on my Twitter, but these are not normal black people. They tend to be a little bit smarter. They tend to have a little bit more critical thinking
Well,
skill. I think,
maybe.
yeah, the people that follow me, if you're stupid, I'd block you. I don't, I'm serious. If you come in there with some dumb stuff, it ain't about being stupid. You could be stupid, but you got to want to learn. If you stuck on stupid, like you're determined to be stupid, like you gangster about your stupid, defending your ignorance, I just tell you to leave. Like, why would you? What's the point of you being here if you're not here to learn anything, right? Or have an open mind? Well, I did a survey, and 88% of the people on the that responded to the survey said that they think he should have gotten released. And I thought that
Hmm.
was really
That
that was
doesn't
interesting.
surprise me. So, what does that tell us? Okay, so I'm just telling you my story of what the suburban white women think in my class. And I will tell you, there were women in there who were Republican and there were women in there who were Democrat. And they both
Mm.
agreed to that. So it wasn't divided by political opinion. So what does that tell us?
I
What
don't
does
know.
that tell us, boys?
I mean, it seems to tell me that there's propaganda. Is that?
Yeah, propaganda lies.
We know
Hmm.
Judge Joe Brown said that that's one side of propaganda. He studied under a lady who worked for the KGB,
Oh,
and she taught him how propaganda works. And he said one of the rules of propaganda is you make people think that they're the only one who believes what they believe. So even if what they
Mm-hmm.
believe is true, if you make them feel isolated, then a lot of people just go along with the crowd because they don't want to be kind of the lone
Oh,
wolf.
invalidate you.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Cosby. Now here's what we want to get to. And by the way, if you're watching, please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button. Alicia and I were thinking about doing something called pillow talk, and because we a lot of times we'll literally be laying in bed like we are right now, and just be talking about stuff. And I can tell you, just anybody that's curious, the cool thing about the marriage to me is you're not just my best friend. You're sexy as hell. That was confirmed the first day I met you. But then also, you're a scholar, right? So we will sit here and we have really great intellectual conversations while we're laying here
Mm-hmm.
in bed,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the greatest thing in the world. We're connecting spiritually and physically and intellectually and all this other stuff, and I just love it. So yeah, so we're just gonna call it pillow talk. Is that cool with you?
That's really cool, but it's all on you because it's your idea to say, "Hey, let's talk to people. Let's record.
Yeah,
Let's get
yeah.
on." That's your creation,
Well,
and I go with whatever you say.
you have a lot of good ideas, so I respect that. Now, here's the thing. Here's what happened with Bill. And let me get to that because
Oh, okay.
Walter's asking what did Bill say? So I better give
Oh, is that
Walter
the
what he's looking for.
title? Was the
Yeah,
title
yeah, yeah.
about? Okay.
Well, that's the title, so I got to get to that. But
Okay,
but
get to it
so let me
then.
let me just lay that out.
Okay.
So Phylicia Rashad, as you guys may know, I assume you saw. Give me a yes or no if you saw Phylicia Rashad. She made some comments defending Cosby and Howard University. To my disappointment, really, I don't think went to bat for her. I think they kind of backpedaled and tried their best to apologize away what she said, and she had to issue another statement, all this other stuff. Well, Cosby came out and actually defended Phylicia, and really went in on Howard. And if you guys let me know if you can still hear me. I'm switching to a different screen. Give me a
Hmm.
yes to let me know you can still hear me because I want to make sure I'm coming through. But here's what Cosby wrote. Cosby wrote, Howard University, you must support one's freedom of speech, which is
Hmm.
taught or supposed to be taught every day at that renowned law school, which resides on your campus. Um, and then let me see here. And they said the mainstream media are the insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol. Those same media insurrectionists are trying to demolish the Constitution of these United States of America on this Independence Day. Okay, so he says no technicality. It's a violation of one's rights, and we the people stand in support of Miss Phylicia Rashad. Now that's interesting. Um, I'll give you one thought that comes to mind is the other day I was sharing with everybody part of Dr. Claude Anderson's book, The Black History Reader. And one of the arguments Dr. Anderson makes that's really interesting is he says that, when black folks try to lean on the Constitution to defend our freedoms, we're a little bit flawed. In his view, the Constitution was never written with you in mind. The Constitution was written for the protection of the rights of whites. So when they do everything by the letter of the Constitution, they're pretty much excluding you from all the freedoms and rights and privileges you'd like to have. Now, I think he said the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were designed to rectify that, but a
Hmm.
lot of that got diluted and watered down because they got you believing that these rights are for everybody. And he says that during Reconstruction, that was
Hmm.
a period where black people were getting all kinds of rights and all kinds of remedies that made sense, and then that all got reversed. They just took all that back. So, so even leaning on the Constitution, and I respect what Cosby and Andrew White have to say about this, but I don't even look at the Constitution in terms of something that's supposed to protect me. But I do think that when you talk about Phylicia Rashad, she's not the one on trial. She's not the one who was accused of anything. And for them to persecute her because of her opinion is a real
Hmm.
problem. What do you think?
Okay, first of all, I have some questions. Okay, she is the dean of what?
Fine arts at
She's the
Howard.
dean of fine arts. Okay, does she still have that title, or did they take that away from her? Do
Um,
we know?
I don't think they took her job away. Let me see. I'm gonna Google
That's
for
what
it.
I'm curious about.
Yeah, that's a good one. And it's real interesting. I was reading an article in Deadline.com, which came out of Hollywood, and it's literally biased. It's the most biased crap you've ever read. Like they're literally talking about Cosby like he's a terrible person. He's guilty. This so-called objective journalism that doesn't exist anymore, and it kind of gets on my nerves. It really does. It's like, give us information. Stop giving us your opinion. Stop telling people what to think. So let me see here. If I Google Phylicia Rashad, let's see here. I see Cosby defends Phylicia Rashad. Phylicia Rashad pens a letter to the students and the parents, and she says, "I offer my most sincere apology." So chances are she's probably not going to get fired. I'd be curious to know if she actually cares. I'm assuming that she has some of that Hollywood money and she doesn't need the job. But then again, though, you never know. I mean, some of these actors, you never know where they are financially.
Well, she's still doing work though. She's still
She is.
Every time I turn around, I'm like, oh, here she goes in another film. You see her a lot.
Last time I saw her was in a Tyler Perry movie.
Oh, really?
That one with the guy with the funny Jerry curl was beating the lady up. It was like those, typical Tyler Perry movies where the guy starts off as this wonderful Prince Charming, and then he turns into like the most evil man in the world.
Yeah, I saw she played the mom in Creed. She's just the mom. She's the ultimate mom.
She was the mom in Creed.
The mom in Creed. Creed 1 and 2. She's still got work, and I'm certain she's probably turned stuff down because she's just got a lot going on. I follow her on social media, and her sister are really close and do great stuff together.
Oh, they're really good.
Whiz. I really enjoy them. I enjoy like who they are and what they represent, and that's a real Black woman. Sticking up for a Black man who she felt was wrongly. She would know out of anybody. She would know Bill Cosby probably more than his wife knows him, or just as much because they spend all that time together.
I mean,
like they would know.
That is an interesting thing. It would be interesting to see.
She's credible to
the
me.
Nature. Yeah, I know Cosby was in her wedding when she married Ahmad Rashad.
Yes.
Cosby, the two groomsmen were Bill Cosby and O.J. Simpson.
Oh, no.
What the hell? Yeah.
Good grief. Well, she did not come out this strong in favor of O.J. Simpson.
She really did.
So that should tell you what she knew back then. So I think we can give her some credibility here.
I give her the right to freedom of speech. I give her the right to have her opinion. And I think that this lynch mob ideology that is taking over the world is screwed up. Again, if you can prove it, I'm just trying to figure out, okay, if he supposedly did all this stuff, you telling me there ain't no police reports out there? There's no evidence out there? No nothing you can provide? And that part I just don't get. I just don't understand that. I really think they have the right to tell somebody and tell the police. And it becomes very convoluted. Like Judge Joe Brown did a good job of explaining just that Hollywood culture, because he was one of the highest paid people in Hollywood at one point. He was making as much money as Judge Judy, who's currently the highest paid person in Hollywood. So he's seen all that up close. He talked about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, sex, drugs, and rap. And a lot of times the drug culture, the sex culture was very wide open in the 60s. Everybody was kind of doing whatever they wanted. And so you would have women that would keep going back to Bill Cosby over and over and over again. And people don't understand that. People are like, they don't get this idea that you're seeking out, regular people can't relate to the idea of a person allegedly doing something like that to you, and then you seeking him out and going to look for him, on a regular basis,
Yeah, maybe they wanted something in return and didn't get it. You never know. You never know what was going on with them. Well, I thought my understanding was that he was giving people drugs without their consent.
That's what they claim. He was
slipping them something in their drink without their consent, but it seemed like he was basically like, "Hey, you want to take this? You want to take this drug with us?" And if they said no, it didn't seem like he was forcing it on them. They can just say yes or no.
Well, he did have that. It was real interesting. I went to his Instagram page, and Cosby put up a video of Andrea Constand, the lady who accused him, and she was saying that he offered her the blue pills,
the 3 pills, right?
She chose to take them, so that sounds like he didn't drug her. She said, I think that's what he was saying by putting the video up. Like she took the pills. And now what was interesting was it sounded kind of weird because she said she didn't know what was in it. And I guess maybe people believe anything a celebrity says. I don't know. But he said that these pills will help you relax. And she said, okay. And she took the
And she
pills.
took him. So I mean, it didn't. I mean, that was surprising because I thought he was tricking women and had this some sort of.
Well, that's the impression they give you.
Ugh,
You know what I
but
really
he
would.
wasn't.
I think anybody that really wants to understand it more deeply um, should take each case individually, every accusation, every
Mm-hmm.
story individually, right? And every story, I think, should be evaluated independently. You should look like, is there any evidence or is there any reports filed? What was the behavior of the person, after all this happened? If it's one of those people who says, oh, yeah, I was cool with Cosby for 20 years. I bragged to my friends that we were buddies. Every time he came to town, I would go looking for him. He paid my college tuition. Well, I think those cases are different from the ones where you have somebody who says, yeah, I saw this guy, this happened. I never wanted to see him again. If I see him again, I'm going to punch him in the face.
Yeah, there were some people who did say that actually. I have
Really?
heard
Okay.
people saying that. And see, well, today sexual assault and rape and all of that, there's different terms than it was back in the 60s and 70s. 60s
Mm.
and 70s, it just wasn't, it was a different definitely before the Me Too movement and more recent laws about what sexual assault means. So if someone is under the influence, they can't give permission right now. Right now. If you're under the influence, if you know someone has been drinking, they're not allowed to give, depending on what state you live in,
So the
right? So you're not,
mm,
so some states are now, updating their laws to reflect that. So, but
mm,
back in the 70s, it wasn't like that at all. It was just, it
mm.
was just like, you take this drug, let's just go for it,
So does that mean that if I get drunk and a woman asks me for my money and I give it to her, I can say she robbed me?
Yes.
Really? I can do that? Like I can
Yes.
say you robbed me because I
I
was
think
drinking,
so.
I chose
I
to
was under
drink,
the influence. I didn't know
and
what I
I
was doing.
gave you my
Giving my
money.
money back.
You're a thief. You should go to jail because you took money that I offered you.
I believe so. If you're under the influence, you cannot
Oh,
consent.
that's heavy.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That's heavy. Well, I think it's stupid, honestly.
I know you
I
do.
do. You
I
know how
know
I
you
am.
do, but
I'm
that's
like,
the
look,
letter of
if
the
you
law.
choose to get drunk and you do some dumb stuff while you're drunk, you can't possibly throw off the responsibility of everything you might do while you're drunk. I mean, there are people who've gotten drunk and killed people. Or you get behind a car, you drink and drive. So you're saying that I'm not
Oh, that's
responsible? Yeah, I'm
interesting.
not responsible for who I killed when I was drinking because
I don't remember driving, so how am I supposed to be
yeah,
responsible?
like that's that.
Yeah.
I just think the question I always ask is, at what point is there some level of accountability for the choices we make?
Hmm.
Like you haven't to this point in my life, and probably I hope never will hear a story about me doing something crazy because I was drunk or high.
Hmm.
Because
Well, they do
I
have.
chose not to be drunk and high. I don't want to be in a
Mhm.
situation where I'm vulnerable or gonna make bad decisions. What do you think?
Yeah, I was just thinking about they do have like lemon laws. Like if you buy a car and it ended up that the car was not what you thought it was, you can get your money back.
Okay, I can get that.
And there is like 48 hour if you enter into a contract, you have like so much time where you can back out with no penalty.
Well,
So they're
I
giving
think
people.
getting your money back is one thing, but sending people to die in prison, that's such a harsh penalty.
Hmm.
And it's unfortunate we live in a world where they can give such a harsh penalty to a black man without any
Yeah.
degree of careful oversight to ensure
Yeah.
that they got the right guy.
Okay, so what you just said echoed what a lot of the white suburban women said in my class.
Really? What did they say?
Yeah.
What did the white suburban women in your class say?
They felt that if this was a white guy, the white guy would get away with it, that they specifically targeted Bill Cosby because he was a black man and they wanted to bring him down. Some people even brought up, interesting, they brought up conspiracy theories against black. Like I was floored at how
Mm,
much detail they were like aware of.
wow.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Okay,
mm-hmm.
okay. Well, shout out to the suburban white women who are social
Yeah.
workers. And by the way, Alicia has a website. Y'all can feel free to go check it out or follow her on Instagram if you want to. You can go to coachingwithdralicia.com. And actually you're doing a class this weekend on pre-marriage.
Yeah,
And
I've been working on it and it's time to get it
yeah,
out there, get the information out there.
Well, can I come into your class and give my a little bit of my 2 cents?
Oh, you want to come in and say something?
Yeah, I would
Well,
like to say something. Okay,
of
okay.
course, you are always welcome to come. Can I put you in there
Yes, you
as a
can.
guest in the class? That'd be awesome.
Oh, I would love to be a guest. I'd be honored. I'd be flattered.
I'll send you the outline. You can tell me what you
Okay.
want to comment on.
Okay. Well, yeah, yeah. I'd like to come in and just maybe the financial part. Maybe I can help with that. Just some
Oh, the
thoughts on it.
financial part. Well, you
Hmm.
can help with a lot of stuff, a lot of perspective.
Okay. Okay. Well, just so you know, if you want to join, you can get a discount actually if you go to the blackmarriageclass.com.
How
She's
much
gonna
of a discount did you give people?
60% actually.
Oh,
So
60%. Oh, good.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So anybody who's interested, if you're looking to kind of understand, who you should marry, how to be prepared for marriage, things like that. This is Alicia's thing. She's a
Who you
licensed
should
therapist.
marry? Yeah, who
Yeah,
you should marry.
if they don't meet the qualifications, then yeah, you shouldn't be marrying.
Do you have qualifications? Do people have qualifications?
I think they do.
Isn't love supposed to be enough, Boyce?
No, it's not.
No, of course it's not. It's not enough. Love and happiness is not enough to get married.
Love and happiness.
Not enough. Not enough.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but I'll tell you anyway. So if you want to go take a look, you can go to the blackmarriageclass.com. It's going to be this summer. Or sorry, not this summer, I'm sorry, this weekend. And this is Alicia's thing. She's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. Her PhD is very, very real. And so I just wanted to mention what she's got going on. And I'll be there to support. Cora says we're awesome. She says we're an awesome team.
Oh, Cora is awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank
Cora.
you.
Thank you so
Who else
much.
is in here? I don't look at the chat while we talk
Now we got
because it's
Harold
distracting me. Who
George,
else is in here?
Kodo Cotton, Elaine Shepard. Elaine says she supports Phylicia Rashad and Bill Cosby. And actually, Elaine, you spell Felicia like my grandmother Felicia, which it means I like you a lot for doing that. But actually, it's spelled Phy Felicia Rashad. Yeah, I think that the whole thing about Felicia and this is something I want to ask you about, because you're a fellow academic. I'm disturbed by the fact that Howard University is not allowing Phylicia Rashad to have intellectual freedom. I
Mm-hmm,
kind of feel
mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm.
if you are a scholar, if you're on that campus and you're the dean, why can't you let your scholars have opinions? Why can't they have healthy debates?
Oh, these universities are under a lot of pressure. So you typically, I'm certain that the university. Okay, so Phylicia Rashad sent out that message. There may have been individuals that didn't like it, and they put pressure on the university. If
Hmm.
anything, it's probably political and um,
Financial.
financial.
Yeah.
Definitely something political and financial. You're right there in DC. Howard is right there in DC.
Mm.
So it's probably very
Hmm.
closely connected politically there. And that's what it was. I mean, that's what makes universities respond like
Hmm.
that is what's their bottom line. They have to protect their own interest. And if you're somebody that's going to run off and say things and publicly say things that might jeopardize the institution, then they're gonna support their constituents.
Well, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's very important for people to know that all money
Mm-hmm.
ain't good money, and you got to think about who's paying the bills. I did a whole breakdown and analysis. If you guys want to check it out, it's at theblackfinancialchannel.com on the Black News Channel.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, let's look at who's really paying the bills. Let's look who the key investors are. And the key investors of the Black News Channel was the Pakistani guy, Shad Khan, who owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then there was a white guy who was one of the founders. And I said, you got to remember that the person who writes the check and pays the bills decides what the agenda is going to
Yeah,
be.
certainly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's so,
Yeah.
when we created the Black Business School, we were very careful not to take money from anybody that did not understand or share our agenda. And our agenda is a Black agenda. It's a B1 agenda, Black people first,
Mm-hmm.
solving the wealth gap, Black families. We have certain value systems. And that meant that we couldn't take money from hardly anybody. Like we can't take money from like Bank of America. I mean, I was hugely influential in the financial space. There are people that give me lots of respect, and I appreciate it. They it's almost like a godfather kind of status in terms of Black wealth and Black economics. But so I can influence in the financial space, but there's no bank out there I would feel comfortable taking money from. I wouldn't be comfortable, being sponsored by Bank of America or Merrill Lynch or somebody like that, because racism is so thick that there eventually at some point they would shut me down. At some point they would come to me and they would say, We heard what you said on your podcast. That's not acceptable. We're going to cut your funding. And I didn't want to be in that position. So we didn't take money from corporations. We didn't take money from the government. And that's been, really critical in maintaining our freedom of speech. Like I literally speak and I have no fear. You know this. I have no fear of saying what's on my mind.
Well, you don't have any fear anyway. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's
it
true
don't
too.
matter who's giving you money. You will jeopardize whatever so that you can say what's on your mind. I like that about you. What integrity.
Well, you gotta get those shackles off. You have to be true to self on some level, and it's just one of those things where I've seen so many Black people try to do the right thing, try to really put up the good fight, and they can't because they turn around and they find out that they're shackled by somebody who's controlling their purse strings. So that's one of the reasons why I was very adamant about like the fact that we said we're not taking money from anybody. If we can't raise it on our own, then we're not going to do it. In fact, actually, I'll give you an example. When I said that thing, when I critiqued Lizzo and her record label for promoting obesity as body positivity, I had a speaking engagement with that group, the A.G. Gaston group down in Birmingham, Alabama. And they canceled.
Birmingham. Well,
yeah, they canceled the engagement.
Have you been to Birmingham?
Well, yeah.
Have you seen?
Well, also remember that the event was full of like lots of corporate Black people, and unfortunately, a lot of the corporate Black folks are stuck in this weird position where they're like, they want to be rah rah fight the power, but they don't understand it's hard for you to fight the power when other people control your power, when other people have power over you. So they're hearing what I'm saying. Like I think that I'm logical enough that most people, even if they disagree with me, they see elements of truth in what I'm saying. But they look over and they say, how are you able to get away with saying all those things? Well, it's because I always thought about the money and what it truly means to be free. And a lot of your freedom in a capitalist society comes down to your economics. HBCUs are not free.
Okay. Can I say something?
Please go ahead. I'm sorry. I've said a
lot. Did Bill Cosby give money to Howard University?
I want to look that up. Does anybody know? Somebody, one of y'all, let us know in the chat. Have y'all heard about any money Bill Cosby donated to Howard? Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. Share, subscribe, and all that. I'm gonna look up Bill Cosby donations to Howard
because I know him donating money to a ton of.
I bet he did. Oh, Howard, Here we go. Bill Cosby backs calls to force Howard University to return his donations.
Yo, look at that. When is
yep. See that they'll take the money.
That is wonderful.
See, that's what these like scared Negroes will do. They'll take your money.
Wait, how much did he donate?
He gave $30 million to Spelman. Somebody, Kathy said, you're secretly attracted to Lizzo. Ooh, that was brutal. Let me see here. Let me dig up.
How much did he donate to Howard?
Let's see here. I'm looking.
He and his wife did that, right?
Yeah, he gave more money to HBCUs than any Black celebrity in history. He gave Spelman $20 million. Okay, it says Cosby's donations to the Ivy League school remain a secret. However, he did once give Spelman College $20 million. The Ivy League school, Howard?
Howard's not an Ivy League school.
No, I mean, well, it's a nice school though. It's not bad.
It's a good school, but I wouldn't call it Ivy League.
Let me see. I'm looking here.
It doesn't say.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any.
How much money? You should type in there. Wait, go back to the chat. I bet somebody found it.
Let's say it again.
Go back to the chat.
Okay, the chat. Okay, sure.
I bet someone found how much.
Okay. Somebody says 30 million.
Okay. That might be true.
Hobby says Bill donated millions. Bill broke the HBCUs off. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
He wrote big checks to HBCUs.
So that's the thing. So yes. I bet he probably feels like, good grief, could you at least look at everything, the evidence? I don't know if he's trying to say, because I gave you this money, I got to be innocent. I think he just wants justice to be done.
Well, right? You know what? It's saying like, if I gave you all this damn money, can't you at least be fair? Mm-hmm. Can't you at least grow a pair of balls that will at least allow you to defend somebody's civil rights? Yeah. It's crazy that you have civil rights leaders that are openly advocating for the violation of a person's civil rights.
Okay, so here's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about now the divide between what Black people feel in terms of Bill Cosby and what HBCUs are actually promoting. Maybe there's just a disconnect between some of these HBCUs and what we as Black people think on the streets. What do you think?
Well, let's keep it real. HBCUs are not really owned or run by Black people. They are HBCUs were not designed to be controlled by Black people. They were designed by white people to teach Black people to go work for white people. That's what they were designed to do. They said we need
You think so?
capitalism. Yeah, capitalism needs a labor class. And so most universities, not just Black ones, but the white ones too, most of them, they get donations from corporations because corporations need workers. So they're
Mm-hmm.
not training you to be a captain of industry or to own businesses. They're training you to be a good employee. And so HBCUs basically were designed to say, okay, look, we got some Black people out here that are hardworking, that are smart.
Mm-hmm.
Let's train them to come work for us. That's why a lot of HBCUs take more pride in how many employees they send to work for white corporations than they send out in terms of entrepreneurs. Think about this. Dr. Claude Anderson, the leading economic thinker in probably arguably the history of Black people, and right
Mm-hmm.
up there with Marcus Garvey, is just a few miles away from Howard University. But never once have they invited him to speak. They never invited him to teach a class. They never invited him to even be a guest lecturer. But they've invited thousands of mediocre white people to come to that institution. Why is it that Dr. Claude Anderson, who wrote Powernomics, again, this book shaped the whole election.
Mm-hmm.
When Kanye, you were there when
Yeah.
Kanye called. First thing Kanye West asked me was, "Can I talk to Dr. Anderson?"
Mm-hmm.
Ice
Mm-hmm.
Cube, when Ice Cube
Sure
called,
did.
we talked for 10 minutes. Then Ice Cube said, "Can I talk to Dr. Anderson?" Now I didn't mind. I don't mind being, I don't mind. I don't, you know what? I don't mind being the carrier of the message. I love that man immensely. It ain't about ego. It just really was so wonderful and exciting to see all these people that were national influencers who were seeking the wisdom that this man provides to the world. So my question to Howard's leadership and anybody listening who knows anybody at Howard University, forward them this video, forward them this little clip. I want them to hear this. Why have you never engaged Dr. Claude Anderson? What is your fear? What is your fear? He's just one voice out of many. So why would you
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
allow him to play some role in helping to solve the economic problems of Black people, unless you don't have an interest in solving those problems? When I interviewed at Howard for the finance faculty back in
Mm-hmm.
2007 or
Oh,
whatever
you
year it was,
did?
yeah, so I went down and
Okay.
talked to him. Yeah, I remember being interviewed by a Chinese guy, and I'm like, why the hell is a Chinese guy deciding if I should get the right to teach African American kids? In China, could I go to China and find an African American man who is the gatekeeper to decide which Chinese faculty are qualified to teach Chinese kids?
That is really strange. So, what did you think about the finance faculty
I think
of
they're
the
fine.
were they divert? Okay.
Yeah, I got a friend
Uh-huh.
on the faculty at
I got
Howard.
a friend on the faculty at Howard too.
Really? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean,
I think she's in finance. She
yeah,
went to school with you.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Small world.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. It's not to say that all the faculty's garbage or anything, or that
Yeah.
Howard's garbage. I mean, Howard's not a bad school, but I think that at some point we have to figure out how do we have institutions that are truly independent enough to
Mm-hmm.
do the work necessary to really lift the community the way it needs to be lifted. Like you can't really like the amount of stuff that Black people have to do to really get where we're trying to get to is going to require a little bit of radicalism. Like
Uh-huh.
we need to create more people that can start businesses and build companies and create jobs. We don't need more employees, right? That really helps white people. That doesn't help us. So I think the question becomes, how do you do that? And I think it starts with a funding base. A lot of these universities don't have a good funding base because if all you're doing is cranking out employees, they can't write big checks. Employees can't write $1 billion checks to your institution. But if you go to Howard and Yale or Harvard and Yale, they've
Mm-hmm.
got like 200 billionaires, I think, on their Rolodex
Mm-hmm.
that will write $100 million check like it ain't nothing. And that's where your billionaires come from. It comes from your entrepreneur base, not from your employee base. Employees can't write $100 million checks, but billionaires can. So we need to produce more Black billionaires, more Black captains of industry, more Black Mark Zuckerbergs. We need the Black Elon Musk out there. That's how you build your donor base. So you're not dependent on either government funding or people like Jeff Bezos, his wife, to fund you.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mackenzie Bezos, God bless her. She gave a lot of money to HBCUs, but I'd love to see what are the requirements of receiving that money. I think that's the part I'd love to see. What do you think?
I think that'd be interesting. I don't know. What do you think about Phylicia Rashad
I think
support
I
for
think
Bill
Phylicia is
Cosby?
awesome. I think she showed tremendous courage. I think that what's probably happening, to be honest with you, is I think that Phylicia is leaning on her personal interaction with
Mm-hmm.
Bill, right? And I think there's nothing wrong with that, right? It just kind of says, look, this is what I know from this man. This is another side, another piece of evidence to add in when you're figuring out who Bill is. Because a lot of times when they do these, like when they do these, like, these expose gotcha pieces,
Mm-hmm.
they show just one little tiny sliver of who the person was.
Yeah, I kind of would like to hear more from her though. I
Yeah.
would like for her to just kind of explain it a little more. I think there's just been these statements kind of put out that I'm like, I want more. What do you mean by that? Hey, tell me more about
Mm,
what you saw. I mean, I kind of would like more of an explanation. Even just, I want to hear from Bill Cosby too.
mm,
I want to hear
yeah.
from him. Like I'm just waiting to see when he's actually going to come out and do his interview. Who's going to do the interview, boys? Someone's going to interview him. Is it going to be Oprah? Oprah gonna
No,
interview him?
it ain't gonna be Oprah. It ain't
Is
gonna
it
be
gonna be
Oprah.
Gail to
It
interview
ain't gonna be
him? It's
Oprah or
gonna be
Gail.
like a huge.
I don't think
You
Gail is
think
gonna.
Gail is gonna
No,
give him like a R. Kelly
I,
interview?
I would not. If I was him, I wouldn't go near Oprah or Gail.
I'm
I
just
think.
curious about the next move going on for.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I think Bill Cosby. I'm hoping. I know that Andrew Wyatt, his publicist, did call my producer, and she,
Oh,
and so the idea,
boys.
the possibility of Andrew coming in is not out of the question. But I'll support either way. But what I really hope is that Andrew was genius in engaging, non-traditional black-owned online media to
Right.
keep Bill's name out in the public eye when white media just kind of threw him to the wolves and left him to die. And so now that he's out, I'm hoping that he'll embrace one of those outlets first.
Well, I'll tell you this. He now knows who his friends are. He now
Mm,
know who his enemies are.
yeah,
Who are the people who stuck with him during this really difficult time.
yeah,
It's hey,
yeah. Well, you
so
know
he
what?
will.
Daryl Eiffel just threw in a good comment. He said Phil Scott runs the Diaspora News Network, and it has over like 1.2 million subscribers.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I think it would be great if Cosby came into my channel. I have 1 million subscribers on all my channels put together, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't have 1 million on one platform. I have 445,000 on Your Black World. So I would love to have Cosby on, but I'm okay if he chooses somewhere else. I just think he should engage that though, because that's where he can rebuild his legacy. Because if we support black owned media and we
Mm-hmm.
support those voices, like, well, let's say he was interviewing with a Vicky Dillard or somebody like that, right? We're the ones that are going to be the defenders of the legacy, right? White
Mm-hmm.
media
Mm-hmm.
ain't got nothing for him but negative smoke. That's it. They ain't got no good shit for him. If he lives another 20, 25 years, they will torment him for 25 years. He
Mm.
ain't going he probably, there's a good chance he won't live that long, to be honest. He's 84, 83 years old, something like that. But I hope he does. But I'm saying that they're going to torment him. They will never, ever, ever exonerate him in their minds. So he needs to turn back to the black community.
I can't
Tariq
stop.
Nasheed, that'll be another
Oh,
good place
Tariq
for him to
Nasheed.
go.
I can't stop thinking about your poll that 88% was in favor, 88% of the individuals. And I think that may not be representative of all black people, but it's definitely representative of black people on social media and how
Mm,
that is such a difference between people who are watching the regular news.
yeah, yeah,
I think it's a problem for media. I think media is in a crisis.
yeah.
Media is like we cannot get a control on everything
Mm-hmm.
because as soon as we get control on network news, here comes the internet with this alternative news that's taken off. The
Yeah.
fact that you can sprout out and say I got 1 million followers and all these other alternative ways of getting information and information and knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
it's a problem for the powers that be. They're sweating.
Yeah.
They sweating at night. They can't
And
sleep at night.
I
Because
can't
what you gonna
sleep
do?
at
We
night.
still got
I
pillow
toss and
talk.
turn. Listen for the telephone.
Okay, but who can stop us from doing pillow talk? Okay,
Nobody.
so maybe you can stop it on YouTube, but there'll be something else. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
FarTube or some other network that's gonna come
Right.
out. There is no stopping it.
That is so true.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, and you and I mean,
it'll be something else.
we both have PhDs, so we're not stupid people. We both been professors for a long time, right? So we're not just professors; we're experienced, seasoned scholars.
Yeah, we got
And
gray hair.
I
We
know,
have gray
right?
hair to prove it
Yeah,
now.
yeah, and so I would put us up against any pundits that you see on TV. Like, so you can get good analysis on the internet, and I really think that that's what's called
Hmm.
for people that want to seek truth. But I think that when you talk about Cosby, what I really wish for Cosby is not that we tell lies, good or bad, about the man. I think that we should acknowledge. You taught me about acknowledging things.
Yes.
I'm okay. I believe in acknowledging those who are concerned about things that might have happened that are inappropriate. Like we definitely know, he wasn't a good husband. We also know that there's a lot of accusations, and I think that should be acknowledged within reason. To say like, look, there people said these things. A lot of them said it, but there's a lot of questions that we have that weren't answered.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. We haven't heard from Camille Cosby.
Well, yeah,
We haven't
I don't
heard
think
from
we ever
her.
will.
We may not ever hear from her. And it may not even be our business. That's not my business. It's
Well,
not
and,
my
and it,
business to know.
mm,
But you do kind of have some questions for her.
well, you know what? It's
Like,
not.
what is that like? Like, I would.
Well, I would
I
love
would have a ton of questions for
Well, I
her.
would love to ask her questions, but I don't think she has to answer anybody on that.
I mean, it's just I think it may be too intrusive to get into their marriage like that. Because they seem to be pretty private with that in terms.
Mm,
But I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, boys.
mm.
I ain't gonna look the other way.
Yeah,
I'll be. I'm not gonna look the other way. Like that's not. Mm-mm.
well, you know what I would do
Oh
is
no.
I would say that when you talk about um, Cosby's legacy, I think that he deserves a legacy that's built on fairness, um, in terms of acknowledging the things that we know and things we don't know about him. I think that
Mm-hmm.
what I don't like about media is they like to make everything um, white and black, good or bad. Either
Okay.
you were a superhero who could do no wrong, or you are a complete demon who did
Mm,
nothing good for anybody. And we know with
yeah.
Cosby that's just not true. Cosby has a mixed legacy, whether he likes it or not. And I think that what would be fair to him is to, for those of us who are defenders of truth when it comes to this situation and many others, is to say, look, we can acknowledge all these accusations and all this stuff, but also acknowledge the fact that they weren't proven, that there was no evidence, that there was no procedural adequacy in terms of, really doing what they think that should have happened. But then there's the other part of that that says this man also gave more money to HBCUs than any celebrity in his time. There's also the legacy that says this man created TV shows that were seen by national television audiences that promoted HBCUs more than anything that had ever been done
Oh
before.
gosh, yeah. When Different World came out, I think it was Debbie Allen that talked about that when Different World came out. Like HBCUs had record breaking enrollment.
Hmm.
Just that one show.
Yeah, between that and School
Right.
Days and all
Oh,
that,
School Days, gosh,
Big Brother
yeah. Oh my,
Almighty.
yes. I don't watch that again. That's just
Oh,
like a
that
classic.
was a great movie,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then with Fat Albert, when he did Fat Albert, he did that. He wrote his dissertation on Fat Albert. That was his dissertation, was
Oh,
to create a show that educates black children. So Cosby, I just think that it's
he and his wife have PhDs, right?
th-
Or
they're
EDDs,
both
or is it honorary? I
you know
don't
what?
know.
They're both doctor, and so I'm gonna just call them that. But
Okay.
I don't think they're doctor like we're doctor. Like they didn't get tortured by a dissertation committee for 4 years or whatever. But still, though, they're still just this awesome couple, smart, distinguished, and I have so much respect for.
I look up to them for the good work that they've done. In terms of their
Mm.
marriage, I don't know if I would model my marriage after them, but that's personal. It's none of my
Mm.
business. But in terms of what they've done to society, yeah, I look up to that for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
I like them, and I like Dr. Claude Anderson, his wife.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
yes.
a lot of people don't know
They're really
Dr.
nice.
Anderson's wife has a PhD. She got it from the same school you did.
That's right. We are alumni.
Yeah, which I thought was
Yes.
great. That was really
The
cool.
same school. Yeah.
Yeah, so me and Dr. Anderson had connected. And when you met Mrs. Anderson, she connected with you. I think that when Mrs. Anderson met you, that's when she started really trusting me.
That's true. She didn't know about you. She didn't know about you until I talked to her.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we sat and we
We're
talked to her.
normal people. Yeah, she got to know us.
Yeah, and I love them both, and I think they're so smart. And just these are the types of people I look up to.
Yeah, and I've learned just from watching them interact with each other, just like
Mm,
how because they've been married for a long time. It's just nice to
mhm.
see married couples who've been married for a long time, how they interact with each other, and
Mm.
just the amount of respect they have for each other. I thought it was really nice to observe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
That's always nice to see.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mrs. Anderson holds down the fort. So don't y'all make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
Behind that great man is a great woman, and
That was so clear. Yeah.
that's where our great women come into play. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good night. I guess we're pretty much done. Do you have anything else? You good? Bet.
Well, if you have any questions in the chat or anything,
Um,
any statements, what are
yeah.
people saying?
Let's
That's
see here.
interesting.
Somebody says both have a PhD, not honorary. Okay.
Oh, they
Uh,
got real PhD. They got 2 PhDs.
yeah.
Both of them,
Yeah,
right?
Lou Rose says, who says she looked the other way? Marriages are sacred. I know a lot of guys sleeping on the couch for years. It's not easy to leave a wealthy marriage. Bezos is rare. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so that's not. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, and somebody
Mm-hmm.
says, Dua Nova says, and let's not forget that money moves many. At the end of it all, they definitely didn't ruin him. They tried it, but they have made him a legend. I think she's talking about Bill Cosby. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Cosby. Yeah, he's still worth $400 million. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna go broke anytime soon.
Hope
But
not.
I think it was a big waste of wealth. Like literally, Andrea Constand got $3 million because
Mm,
she claimed in court that he grabbed her breast. And I just asked that honest question, that
mm-hmm.
is somebody grabbing your genitals worth $3 million? I think only white women get that privilege. Black,
What is she? Is she white or what? She can't be white because her hair doesn't say it.
I don't
Her
know.
hair is a little. I don't know what is that lady.
I have no
Is
idea
it a like? I don't know. Should I? Is it rude to question
whether she's a
her
lady.
gender? Her
No.
gender is
Well,
not
nowadays
very
gender is
clear.
supposed to be a figment of your imagination.
Well,
But I know
it's.
she got that big old Adam's apple,
I will say one
looking
thing.
like Dennis Rodman.
I mean, just like watching her, like that confirms that gender is fluid.
Yeah,
She's there
she got a little extra
somewhere.
testosterone
It's
up in
it's
there.
fluid. And
So Mr. Untouchable says she's a Mexican dude.
oh goodness.
You ain't right.
But
You
you
ain't
just
right.
don't know, like
Okay.
from looking at her.
Now somebody says she's mixed. Her father is black. Does that make sense to you?
Her father's black. I don't know. You just can't tell from looking at her. But
Oh no, but I was
but if
looking.
she identifies as a woman,
I
then
ain't gonna
let's
lie.
just call her a woman.
I looked at that and I said, "Wow, Bill. Okay, I'm not gonna say nothing about that, but my gosh. Okay, then. Let's see. Nicole's View interview today. She interviews Constance's ex-boyfriend and reveals a lot.
Oh, we got to check that
Ooh,
out.
that sounds interesting.
But well,
Well, let's
okay.
not talk. Why did Busher just say that Constant is Kaepernick's stunt double?
Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick.
Oh
That was just
goodness.
mean. That was just mean. I'm gonna wait until after the video's over before I bust out laughing because that would be rude. You just rude, Busher.
Oh my goodness.
Colin Kaepernick stunt double. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I see a
Oh,
little bit of that in
Busher
there.
Busher says Constant is a lesbian according to her ex-boyfriend.
She
Well,
is. Yeah, she probably. I can see that. I can
well,
see her being, going both ways. I guess being
yeah.
bisexual. I can see that,
You know what? I'm not
and
going.
it's fine.
That's a rabbit hole. I don't even know if we can go down, but I'll tell you, I was very surprised, and I was asking this question, just in terms of saying if like that's all she said. She said she got that he touched her allegedly, and she got $3 million for that, and I just,
So
I
when
can't.
did he touch her?
She claimed it happened in 2004. So gosh, that's
Okay,
17 years ago now.
17 years ago.
Sheesh, that's a long time ago. Yeah, he was in his what was it, in his 60s. Sheesh, Lord. Anyway, okay. So dear Cordelia says she's married to a woman now.
Okay, so she is okay. Well,
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah, that's something I can't relate to. Well, I can relate to being around all those white women anyway. Like that was just kind of weird to me. I guess these celebrities, that's what they do. They get in that celebrity world and they start doing stuff that don't make no sense no more. But whatever. I still support him. I wish him the best, and I don't think he deserved to be in jail. And I think that's the end. Any
yeah,
thoughts?
I think that's great. No, this is good.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
glad. This is good pillow talk. Now we probably have to like go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go to bed. All right, guys.
Okay.
Well, by the way, Alicia's site, she actually does do couples counseling. So feel free to take a look at her site, or you can follow her on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. It's right there on the screen, coachingwithdralicia.com. And also, if you want to join her pre-marriage class on Saturday, on this Saturday and Sunday, she's gonna do 2 days on that topic, and I'm gonna join her for a few
it's
minutes.
free.
No, it's not.
It's not free.
No, it's
okay,
not.
it's not
No.
free. Okay.
And so you can go to the blackmarriageclass.com.
It's 60% off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we
So
go.
feel free to go take a look. All right, guys. Well, I'm out of here. Have a good night, and hit the thumbs up button on your way out. And I'll see you soon. And we will do more pillow talk. So Busher says
This is fun.
So y'all like the pillow talk thing? Okay. So we're going. So there we go. We got the name of a little show that we can
You're
do.
so creative, Boyce.
Pillow
I love
talk
that
with
about
Dr.
you.
Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins.
Look at that.
That's right. You're a Watkins, baby.
I am a Watkins.
Changing that name.
I feel it. I feel like a Watkins.
Like a little tattoo.
Ooh, maybe that'll be our tattoo.
What?
I want you to get a tattoo with me.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Love y'all.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.